Hello everyone, what's up? Prentice1215 here with another video review. Today I'm reviewing Transformers Studio Series Leader Class Blackout from the original 2007 Transformers movie. And so, before we take a look at the figure itself, let's go ahead and take a quick look at the box. So, here it is. It's your typical Studio Series box. Here's Blackout looking very menacing. It is, of course, from the first Transformers movie from 2007. He's the 8th figure in this line. He's from the Studio Series. He's a Decepticon. His name is Blackout. He's for ages 8 and plus. Of course, that's just a suggestion. I have to put that on there. He is made by Hasbro. It says Transformers along the side. He is from the Generations line because Studio Series is a subline from Generations. And of course, this is also made in partnership with Takara Tomy. On the side here, we have another gorgeous look at his face. He is a leader class. On the other side, we have a picture of him and his little buddy Scorponok, and of course this is a authentic Transformer. And then on the back, we've just got your typical back-of-the-box product shots. He's big screen inspired, scale detail backdrop in several languages. He is a Decepticon. He's from the first Transformers. His name is Blackout. He is from the Desert Base Assault scene. Decepticon Blackout shocks human defenses with unstoppable force. I find that a very generic description of what's going on, but okay. That works. He does come with his little buddy here. Scorponok transforms in 46 steps. There are these other toys you can buy. He comes with a display, and that's pretty much it for the box for now, at least. So here we have Blackout, the first Cybertronian we see in the live-action Transformers films. The first one we hear is, of course, Optimus Prime, but the first one we actually see on screen is Blackout here as he proceeds to murder a bunch of humans. So, a memorable opening scene to say the least, as we see absolute carnage unfold, and man, oh man, is this figure impressive. I thought that and we'll get to him in a minute, I thought that the old version of Blackout that we had from toy lines past was pretty good, but man, this blows them out of the water. There's so much detail here. And because he's so big, I'm going to have to move the camera instead of moving him toward the camera. So, I mean, look at that. Look at that face sculpt. It's gorgeous. I mean, it's a very ugly face, but the sculpting on it is gorgeous because of how detailed it is. I mean, he just looks really good. He does have all of that helicopter stuff just kind of hanging on there. And he has some nice hands. He's actually got an opposable... He's actually got a posable thumb in there. Can't really see it that well from the way I'm holding the camera. Oops. And then here's his little buddy Scorponok. We'll get into him more in a minute. But then just all the little details here are just really, really awesome. So Blackout, of course, looks really good. And here's his little insect buddy Scorponok. He's got some nice detailing on him too, some nice paint. He's not exactly that posable. You just essentially got the tail here, and that's, you can do that, and then you can move those however you wish, and that's pretty much all the articulation you get from Scorponok, but he looks good. Although, I do have a bit of a problem with it because only 2 of his eyes are painted red. Even though you can see that the other two are sculpted in there, so a little annoying, but oh well. It's not really. I mean, this isn't a figure all on its own. It's just a little thing that comes with Blackout, so not that big a deal, really. He's perfectly fine. So I am doing things a little backward from what I usually do when I do these reviews, and I'll get to why here in a minute. So. I guess now it's time to really kind of get into Blackout's features. He doesn't really have too many play features per se, unless you really just count that. And even then, it doesn't spin that much. Now, this is of course, if I can take it off here, this is of course the back rotor from the back of the helicopter. And it doesn't actually, there's not a transformation mechanism for this to shift and fold up anywhere. It actually just, you take it off, because this goes into a tab. You take it off, and then you can put it on either of his arms there, like so. Some people have complained about this. I've seen some people complain about this, that it's kind of a cheat, but I don't really think so, because this is his weapon. You see him use this in the film, so it's just that. So I don't really see this more as they're cheating with the transformation here, as much as I see it as this is very, very well integrated weapon storage for him. So that's the way I choose to look at it. So he's got his rotor weapon here, which is cool. And then there's kind of a discrepancy here. So he's got this big thing right here. And let's see here. Let's move him back, because if you look on the box here, specifically here, you can see that it sticks straight out. And you can see here in the instructions that, here on the back of the box, that it sticks straight out. But in the instructions tell you when you're displaying him in robot mode to have this angled down, because there is a thing there to angle it down. So that's really more a case of personal preference of whatever you want to do with that, you can do with that. You want to have it up, you can have it up. You want to have it down, you can have it down. I've got problems with it in both positions, honestly. So it really is just kind of a case of personal preference, because when it's down like this, it kind of is in the way of his knee. But then when it's up, well, it just... that looks pretty silly too. So, and then, I mean, you could say, well, you could just kind of angle it halfway, but yeah, I don't really like the way it looks angled just halfway either. So I think I'm just going to stick with it down when he's in robot mode. But, so, that's really just a case of personal preference, whatever you want to do with that. And I don't usually go over the back when I'm reviewing these toys, but I think in the case of Blackout, he has a very... Again, I feel like the word iconic gets thrown out a lot, but Blackout has a very recognizable back. If you've played any of the Transformers games between 2007 and 2009, you probably played as Blackout or Grindor, who's just Blackout but with a different name, and very third-person game, so very recognizable back here. And I think that looks rather good, because there's not really anything hanging off down there. It looks like everything kind of folds up nicely on his back, so that's appreciated. And then, of course, you've got the blades hanging off there as they do, so I really like that. And so then just getting into some of the finer details here. I do really like his feet. These look like Blackout's feet. I know that's really kind of it's like, okay, so his feet look like his feet in the film. Big whoop. But so that's just something I really appreciate, is the attention to detail on this figure and the Studio Series figures overall. I mean, they just look really good. And just speaking of the added attention to detail, the whole motor, the blades, whatever this area here is, that it's like, it just looks so good. All the little nice molded in details. I mean, look at that. I mean, this more than any other figure from this line, I feel like really, and I like all the figures from this line that I've been able to get so far. I feel like this looks the most like the CG model we see in the movies. This is just so well done, and it's I love it. I love it. It's so good. So yeah, so that's pretty much Blackout's robot mode with his little buddy there. So now let's get into some size comparisons. So first up, I'll just leave him there. First up, we have the original Voyager class Blackout from 2007. Now you may notice a couple things here. New Blackout is much taller. Well, that's because he's a later class figure. Old Blackout's a Voyager. And two, he's kind of missing some pieces. That's because I got Voyager Blackout secondhand at BotCon 2012. And that was the condition I found him in. He's mostly complete, and the reason I got him is because in 2009, I got the Autobot Whirl here. Now, Autobot Whirl is, of course, just the 2007 Voyager Blackout mold redone in a blue and white paint job and with an Autobot symbol stamped on them. So it's the exact same mold. It's just, and well, there's also a head resculpt. The head's completely different. But so yeah, there's the two previous versions of Blackout, sort of, kind of, technically. So, you know, you have the original version of Blackout, and you have the original Blackout mold, but just repainted as an Autobot, but this one's also complete. So, yeah, so you can see there's definitely an upgrade with this new Studio Series toy. I mean, and you get the basic look of what Blackout looks like with the old versions, but there's just some details that are off. Because what was I just talking about? I was just talking about his feet. Yeah, these aren't exactly the same feet, are they? And I'm pretty sure that's because this toy was modeled after concept art. Like a lot of Transformers movie toys, it was modeled after concept art. Sometimes the movie production people will say, hey, well, here's our finalized design, you can go ahead and make toys of this, but then they end up making some changes here and there afterward. So a notable case of this was Age of Extinction Optimus Prime. That, you know, you look at the 2014 Leader Class toy and you look at his model in the movie, the basic design is the same, but there's a lot of differences. So the same is kind of here with Blackout, where they, again, you know, the top section's really the same, but then the legs were basically completely redesigned from the concept art, the feet especially, because if you look, because concept art, if I manage to find it, which I think I probably will be able to, you can see, hopefully you can see on the concept art that, you know, the feet very different from what they ended up going with design-wise, because there's a shot in the movie where you get to see a very clear look at Blackout's feet and leg structure when during the Soxent base attack, when Sergeant Epps is running away from him and Blackout almost steps on him. I mean, so you get to see the legs and feet right there. That's not what they looked like. That's what they looked like. So that's the two previous versions of Blackout. And then just to see how he scales with other figures from this line, here is his commanding officer, Starscream. So Starscream is actually just a little bit taller in terms of where the head is at. But of course, Blackout's taller overall because he's got the great big assembly there on the top. So Blackout's still the larger figure, but when you're counting where the head is, Starscream's just a little bit taller. So I think that's fine. I think I've seen a couple people complain about his size, like he's really small for a leader. It's like, I don't know. He's in scale with the other characters from that movie, and he still looks larger than Starscream because of the assembly on his back. He doesn't need to necessarily be that much taller. So there's Starscream, and then we'll bring in a Decepticon comrade from a future film. Here's Stinger. Obviously a much larger size difference here because that's a leader class, that is a deluxe class. So, you know, kind of a big stark difference there. And then just to include another Studio Series toy, here is Ratchet. So, you know, Stinger, a little shorter than Ratchet, and then Blackout, obviously much taller than Ratchet. So we don't really see Ratchet and Blackout on screen, I don't think, at all in the first Transformers movie. We see a little bit of Ironhide and him on screen at the same time, but we don't really see too much robot-on-robot action between the two of them. Starscream and Ratchet, yes, but not Starscream, or not Blackout and Ratchet. So yeah, that's pretty much how they stack up. They all look good together. They're in scale, and man, do I love this line. I've spoken about it before. You've seen any of my previous reviews for the Studio Series toys. I just love how we're able to get some of these older characters, in air quotes, older characters from these, in air quotes, older movies that some of us may have missed out on in the past because of our age at the time those were coming out. So we're older and we're getting remakes of these toys, and man, the differences are stark and amazing, and it's really great to be in this scenario. So now that we're done with comparisons and all the robot mode stuff, let's get down into transformation. Now, when it comes to his transformation, it's not exactly complicated. I would even argue that it's actually easy, considering that he's a leader class, and leader class figures are somewhat known to have more complex transformations because of their size. But there is a thing with the instructions where it's not that they're necessarily wrong or anything. They're not. It's just that because of the size of the figure, the instruction booklet is the exact same size as the instruction booklet you'd find for a deluxe figure or Voyager. And so the instructions are actually way too small, so it's hard to see some details when it comes to transforming Blackout. And because of that, they had to squeeze a lot onto a couple pages. They don't necessarily do the best job of telling you what things should be positioned where. It was really hard to see, in my opinion anyway. So the reason I started with the robot mode this time as opposed to the vehicle mode, which is what I usually do, it's because transforming him from vehicle mode to robot mode, you can pretty much do anything in any order. Not necessarily, because there are some things that you have to do first, but you really just can kind of start detaching things and everything will kind of form on its own. But when it comes to the robot to vehicle, there is kind of a specific thing you have to do things in, or else you'll find it difficult to get certain things tabbed into certain places. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started. And this might, again, because of the size of this figure, this may be a little wonkier than my usual transformations, just because he's much larger. So, and gosh, we'll see the vehicle mode when it comes into play here in a minute. So hopefully the lighting doesn't end up being too terrible because of this. We'll work on it. So first, let's remove his weapon, because I think this is his weapon. And then kind of have the arms up like so and get those ready. I think it's good to start with the legs. So as you can see, so Blackout, of course, has the Transformers movie Decepticon chicken leg syndrome that a lot of them have, Starscream most notable. And then we can just kind of start collapsing this area. And then when it comes to the feet, this is something I didn't really cover in the robot mode, is that probably my one complaint with this figure is that while I like that his feet actually look like his feet, the bottom of his feet are these panels. And so while I have not had trouble transforming him, or not transforming, but displaying him, I have seen some people complain about that it's a bit of a bother to have these panels on the bottom because it makes them hard to display. I haven't had that problem, but I can understand that being a complaint. So what you want to do with these panels is, if I can get them, I'm just holding them upside down. If you can get them, there we go. They just kind of detach like that. You flip them around, and then push the thing back in. And then there's a thing here that you'll just flip out like that. And yep. And so here's one of the problems with the figure. Now, I think this is just a my copy problem. I haven't really seen this as a big issue for for other reviewers. I think this is just a my copy issue. But this piece here really likes to come off. So as you can see, it goes in right there. And the one on the other side is perfectly fine, but this one for me, it just doesn't like to stay in. There's maybe just a little bit of, if you can see that, it looks like it may just be a little bit broken. So that's the way it came out of the box. But like I said, I think that's just a issue with my copy. I haven't seen anyone else with that problem, so it's probably not a widespread issue. So with that, now there on the foot, we have the leg all ready to go. Of course, we want to do the same thing with the other leg. And honestly, this is really fun. I like when transformations are fun like this. It's like, oh, it's actually kind of fun to swing that out. So now we have those ready to go. So now we come to some, I wouldn't say tricky, but it is what it is. So here we have this back section. As you can see, it just tabs in there. And so then that helps keep all of that in place, so we can just bring all of this out. Bring that forward slightly like that, and then you can kind of see here's the top of the helicopter. Now, when it comes to this stuff, nope, might want to bring this up. As we can see here, we kind of have these skirt pieces, and that goes up like so. And then when you bring that up, then that detaches the lower abdomen from the chest. And as you can see, there's a port in there. At least I hope you can see that. Yeah, there's a port in there, and then that's where that tabs in, and that keeps them together. So the instructions, and this is the problem I have with the instructions, is that it tells you to kind of get this formed, and then it tells you to get the legs formed into the rest of the helicopter. We can kind of go ahead and do that now. Is that you just twist the leg like that, and as you can see, so we have that done, and then you just bring the legs forward, and then of course this, you can kind of see what's going to happen here. You can bring it back, and then we have the back of the helicopter. The instructions tell you to kind of get all of that stuff going first, and this, and then here in a second this will fold back, and then it'll plug into there. The instructions tell you to fold this back and plug it in first before you deal with the arms. But the problem is this skirt piece. Because of the way the skirt piece sticks out, when you go to do the arms, the skirt piece will get in the way of plugging the arms in correctly. So I prefer, and I think it's better because it's a little easier, at least in my experience, to deal with the arms and chest area first. Then, I mean, you can have all this done. You can have all this done as is already, but just maybe leave the legs dangling like so, so that way it makes getting the arms in place easier. And then after you're done with that, then you can bring up the legs and snap everything into place, and it's a much easier ordeal. So now we just want to push in. Well, actually, first, before we do that, we want to bring this out. So as you can see, here's the front of the helicopter, and then we just push Blackout's head in, and then, and this is really the trickiest part, is getting this piece up and plugged in there, and then of course there we have essentially a walking helicopter. So now that we have the front of the helicopter complete, we can kind of start working on dealing with these arms. So I really like, this is really for me the thing that really makes this thing stand, this Blackout stand above his prior version, is the arm, the way the arms transform. So as you can see, this accordion's out, and then a note for transforming it for the first time, because the way this clips in, as you can see on the side, it does snap in when you press it, but it's very snug because there's a little lip. There's a little lip on it. So when taking it off, you want to kind of lift up and pull, and then pull, because as you can see there, at least I think, yeah, there we go. As you can see there, there's just a little lip there, so that keeps it in place a little bit more. So now we have this arm out like this, and then this is really the only part that's kind of anywhere close to tricky. And really it's not that bad, so you want to bring the arm back and swivel it around, and then this will, and then you can kind of just take these panels and flip them up, and then the hand folds in right there, and then you have to make sure that there's not really a click, but it does, as you can see there's a tab and it goes in there. So you put it in there and then put those together, and then you have this, and then this is where really we get the only kind of having to almost force things, but not really. So, oh, see, because that's even kind of trying to come off there. There we go. So there we go. It just kind of fits right in there. And we've got this ready to go. So, whew, man, my arm's getting tired holding this guy. So now we just do the same thing over here. Just, that one's a little harder to get. So just lift up, bring the arm back, rotate it around, start moving these panels out of the way and into position. Bring that bit up, fold in the hand, rest my arm, move them a little bit. That's a nasty noise that's making. All right, that's in. And then there's that. All right, so now we have the arms all done. And now it's going to be much easier to now bring up the legs and have them be in place. So now you can kind of see where we are going with this. So what I like to do is, now that we have the assembly ready, we bring it back out, and then we bring down this section here, because then it will just fold in there like that. And then if you can see in there, we've got little tabs right there, and it just goes in. I was about to say like so, but it popped back out. There we go. And it just goes in like so. So now with that back down, we can move the legs out of the way and get the arms situated. So then here we have these. They just tab into place right there and right there on either side. That popped out again. This side doesn't really like to stay. There we are. And so now we can fold that out. It'll snap. As you can see here, that just, oop, that's not what's supposed to happen. Move these out of the way. There we go. If I can, there we are. Maybe it's a good idea to plug those in at once instead of, yeah, that's easier. All right. So now we've got this great big thing going. And then now we can bring up the legs a lot easier. Oh, and I forgot to mention that you need to bring out the little landing gear. All right, so then, oh, the legs, there we go. Oh, but now it's kind of moved all, untabbed a bunch of that stuff. So, like I said, it's not really that complicated. It's just a matter of getting things, there we are. And so now, pretty simple, you just bring all of that up and it tabs in like so. And then same for the other side. So this little piece will go in right there. There we go. As you heard, there's some stuff snapping into place. Then we can move those around. That tabbed out again. So then, now that we've got all this done, I can put this piece back in. Just goes in right there. And then those will tab in together. Mine don't really like to tab in together because the one is kind of broken, but oh well. And then we just move these back. Fiddle with the rotors. And then the piece de resistance, well, actually, first, we want to flip this up. And then tab this into here. There we go. And then the landing gear will kind of tab into the hands here, which kind of evens everything out. And then there we have, phew, and there we have Blackout. So here we have Blackout in his vehicle mode, and my goodness, he's gigantic. I mean, oh man, he's really, really big. This is probably lengthwise the longest Transformer that I own. I mean, if you were to, I probably should have grabbed a ruler for this, but I mean, that's a big helicopter. So, he doesn't really have, again, like the robot mode, he doesn't have really much in terms of play features. He's got that, but this is it's very sticky. It doesn't really like to twirl that much, which is unfortunate because, you know, he's a helicopter. You kind of want your helicopter toys to you know, have a easy to, oh well, not a, I guess depending on the person that might be a big deal. I mean, if you get this for a kid and they were really wanting to have the helicopter blades, you know, be able to go really fast, then that might be a letdown. But I don't really know too many kids that are probably gonna want this toy. I mean, and when I use kids, I'm talking, you know, like 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe even 8-year-olds. 10 plus, sure, but I don't know. If I were if I were a 7-year-old, I would be intimidated by this guy. Because, I was intimidated by Leader Class Optimus and Megatron from the 2007 toy line. And I was 10? Yeah, I was 10 years old. So if I was intimidated by them, then I'd sure be intimidated by BLACKOUT now. It's just in terms of transformation and how complex it might be, which is why I just stuck to the Deluxes and Voyagers for the longest time. I didn't actually get my first Leader Class Transformer until 2014 when Age of Extinction came out. So yeah, he's a really cool. His helicopter mode is, as I said, very large, but it looks very nice. And really, even though it is kind of hollow, because oh, hi, look, there's a robot under there. Even though it is kind of hollow, it feels sturdy. It feels nice and sturdy, which is nice. So it, of course, looks really good. That's kind of annoying. It's like, oh, hey, look, there's a robot. It's very hollow in the back, but from the front, it looks really, really good. So you've got some nice details all over him, such as here on the front, he's got Decepticon signal and 4500X on there. Of course, that was the chopper number that they made such a big deal about at the beginning of the first movie. And again, I think this is just a my copy problem, but these two panels don't really want to stick together because the one is kind of wobbly and broken. So mine has kind of an annoying gap there, but I think that's just a my copy problem. So yeah, it looks very, very good. He's got some U.S. Air Force symbols on him. U.S. Air Force 4500X written on there. Danger, keep away. And then this wasn't in the film, I'm pretty sure. This is something I added to the toy, but I kind of like it. It's a nice touch. The tail says BLACKOUT. So, that's cool. So, and then he's got, and then these are, since these are his arms, they can also be found on his arms, of course, but he's got two U.S. Air Force symbols there. So, yeah, pretty cool. The one thing he can do in vehicle mode, and he can do this in robot mode too, I just didn't really show it off, is there is a way to hold Scorponok while in vehicle form. It's a little awkward doing this in front of a camera, but so basically if you just kind of hold up Scorponok, then you can maybe, I forget which way he's supposed to go. Maybe he goes in. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, he goes in like this. You have the tail out, and then it's not the most secure connection because I think no, there we go. He's staying in. So yeah, so there's your storage for Scorponok, and then conversely, there's this is his back plate when he's in robot mode. You can pretty much do the exact same thing in robot mode, and then fold up the tail. So yeah, that's what he would do in when he's in robot mode. I didn't show that off just because I wanted to focus on BLACKOUT in robot mode. But so yeah, that's the little storage compartments for Scorponok. And so with him out of the way, I think we can go ahead and get to some comparisons. So I'm going to go ahead and move the box just because I need the space. So yeah, here's our boy BLACKOUT, and then here is his original iteration from 2007, or at least as much as of him I could transform, because as we discussed earlier, he is incomplete. So he's like half of a chopper. Yeah, this is the helicopter BLACKOUT shot down to scan. This is the original 4500X before BLACKOUT here took the form. So yeah, that's so there's the original, and then here we have Whirl. So yeah, you can tell that they're all obviously the exact same helicopter. Let me see if I can get more of an aerial view of these guys. So that's what they look like from the top. So BLACKOUT does look pretty good in his vehicle form next to others that are the exact same, even if they're not exactly complete. So, and then for a real quick other comparison, just to see him next to a car, here is Bumblebee in his 1977 Camaro next to Blackout. Obviously, big size difference, and this is probably pretty accurate to what it would be in real life with the car and then helicopter. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, I don't know why Scorpion made that noise. Oh well. So yeah, moving Bumblebee. So that's pretty much it for Blackout himself. Of course, we're not completely done yet, because since he is a Studio Series toy, you can take his box here, open it up, and remove, maybe, if you can wrestle with the box, there we go, and remove the backdrop. So, there's the great big old backdrop. Of course, I've got Blackout in his vehicle mode right now, so I will not be showing him off. Instead, I will be showing off his Decepticon brethren, Starscream. And the thing is, since this is a liter-size display, you can squeeze other figures on there, which is really, really nice. So, there's Ratchet and Stinger. So, you can fit several figures onto that one display that was meant for one figure. So that's really nice. I really like that. I think that's a nice feature. So now that we've seen everything this figure has to offer, what is the final verdict? Well, if you've been paying attention, then you're probably going to guess that I'm obviously going to recommend this figure. Because I've really been enjoying this Studio Series line. I mean, those three figures there in the background, awesome toys. Blackout, another awesome toy. You know, there's been a couple hiccups with the Studio Series toys, like Bumblebee here and his weird little roof of the car issue. But, you know, it's not, yeah, to me anyway, that's a very small problem. And just the vast improvement that we've seen from some of these toys from figure to figure, specifically with this one, figure to figure, has been really great, because it's similar to what I said with the Starscream review. This original Voyager, like the original Starscream Voyager from 2007, a good first attempt. But they've had some time to really get to know the designs, and they've been able to make a really nice updated product for you know, kids that may have grown up with the original movies, or with collectors. They're with new collectors, because I would consider myself a new collector, because I used to get these toys to play with them. Now I'm getting them because like, ooh, I want to put that on my shelf. So I'm a new collector. So, you know, and it's nice that we're getting these, because of course I have the original version, but you know, it's incomplete. So to have a complete new version of Blackout that has a fantastic transformation and looks good in both robot and vehicle mode, and overall it's just a stellar toy. I think this may be my favorite toy of the Studio Series line so far. So obviously I'm going to recommend him. He is $50. So that's kind of a steep price point. Even as much as I do love the toy, I am kind of sitting here going, $50. That's a lot for a big thing of plastic. But I mean, you know what? He's worth it. He's worth the $50. I think he's really great. So I mean, he's a leader class. I mean, even if he's not the tallest leader class figure we've ever had, the vehicle mode more than makes up for the price point. Because I mean, he's huge. He's huge in his vehicle form. So yeah, I think that'll pretty much be it for this review. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. Remember to follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Those links are in the description below, and I will see you guys next time. So thank you for watching, and goodbye.